In this video, I'm going to show you what a sort of perfect practice session might look like. Before we get started with that though, I have just two really important things to share with you. First of all, I have a new completely free training. It's an over hour-long training that goes really in depth with what I'm calling the 5 must-know clarinet tips. It's sort of 5 different topics of things that most musicians know about, but few musicians actually use to the fullest potential and work on as much as I think they probably should. So if you're interested in that training, it's completely free, but you can register at quickstartclarinet.com/training and you'll be able to access it immediately from there. The second thing that I want to make sure that you know about is that I'm doing a little bit of a subscriber drive here at the end of 2020. Yes, this is the very last video for Quick Start Clarinet of 2020, but I'll be back next year with regular weekly uploads. But I want you to know about this little subscriber drive where I'm trying to hit a goal of 750 subscribers by the end of this year. I think it's doable, but we're a little bit behind of where I was hoping to be by this point. So if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button so that you can help us reach that goal. And the best thing that you could do to help, especially if you're already subscribed, is to actually share this video with your clarinet playing friends or colleagues, or anybody you think who would enjoy these kinds of weekly tips and tricks and general ideas to make you a better musician and better clarinetist. So thank you so much for doing that. I hope you enjoy the free training, and without further ado, let's take a look at this perfect practice session. Now, of course, there's really no such thing as a truly perfect really anything, and definitely no such thing as a perfect practice session. I'm going to give you some ideas on how I think a good practice session should go, but if you have something that works well for you or anything that you really like doing, then that's completely fine. You do whatever works the best for you. And in fact, if you have something that you think would be particularly beneficial, especially if it's something that I don't mention in this video, leave it in the comments so we can get as many ideas going as we can for what helps make practice feel more productive, more rewarding, and in the long term makes you a better player. And if you haven't noticed, this isn't my normal blue music backdrop that I have for most of my videos lately, because I'm actually going to be taking you in-depth, behind the scenes, going through and demonstrating the whole practice session as we go through this video. So this is my sort of practice setup with a couple adjustments to make it all fit within the video, but this is where I normally do my practicing, so I thought it would be appropriate since we're going to be going through the whole practice process. Alright, so the first thing that I think is really, really important is that you actually have a plan. So I have here the Ultimate Practice Guide, which I've done a video on in the past. You can check that one out. And in this, it sort of has a good layout for what I like to include in my practice planning. And I've sort of filled it out as a sample to see how you might fill it out for yourselves. So the first thing that's really actually more important, and I think something that most people gloss over, is having a sort of long-term goal. This may be preparing for a recital, trying to get into a specific ensemble, or audition successfully for a specific school, or even a professional group. My goal right now is a little generic because there's no auditions happening. I've done with all my schooling, so I don't have anything too specific that I'm preparing for, but I think this goal really captures what I'm working on, which is to just get really comfortable and confident with my fundamentals. And even though this is kind of generic, I included that last bit about sounding like Martin Frost because I think that is really creates a clear image for me for what I'm going for. And that's what's important for your goal, is it needs to be something that is really clear and you know exactly what that means to you, and also something that is sort of inspirational and makes you want to practice and is something that you can look forward and feel really successful when you've made it. Now the next box with the tasks is sort of a brainstorming area actually. So for these tasks you can just put in whatever you might have that you're working on or needing to work on or wanting to work on. I also, if you notice, sort of divided it up into some different categories. So I have an etude, a solo, band music. Dakle is my reed quintet that I play in, so different kinds of ensemble music and orchestral excerpts. You can come up with whatever is relevant to you for your sort of categories of things, and then just fill out whatever you're working on. So you'll see some of my categories are blank because I'm not working on anything for that at the moment. Some of my categories have one thing, and actually I could see these having multiple things if there were lots of things that you were working on. Again, not too much happening musically, so I don't have a ton of things that I'm working on, which is kind of nice because it allows me to go more in depth on one or two things. Another thing that I briefly mentioned but didn't talk about as much as I would have liked in the Ultimate Practice Guide video was this idea of using the Pomodoro technique. So what the Pomodoro technique is basically this idea that you concentrate and really focus on something for a short amount of time, just 20 or 30 minutes, and then you take a short break, and then you go back in and concentrate again. And the really important thing about the Pomodoro technique is that you actually set a timer. And while that timer is going, you are 100% focused on the task at hand. I love that for practicing. It makes it so I can plan that I'm gonna practice an hour here or there or whatever it may be, and I can set my timer for that, focus for that amount of time, and then I'm done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So it's a really nice way to keep things organized and help you to feel really productive and like you've gotten stuff done in the time required. This current setup in the way that I filled out the practice guide for this practice session is exactly the same way. So you can see if you take all of the fundamentals, all of those warm-ups, they add up to 20 minutes, and then I'll take a 5-minute break. Then I'll spend 20 minutes on my first task of the Rose Etude, and then I'll take a 5-minute break. Then I'll spend 20 minutes on the Weber cadenza, and then I'll actually be done, so I don't need to take a break after that. But if you add that all up, I guess it's technically 70 minutes, so it's slightly longer than an hour of practicing with your little mini breaks in there, but it's an hour of actually playing the instrument and having really dedicated, concentrated time to improving things, and that's what will make you better. All right, now actually getting into the practice routine. Starting off with the fundamentals, you can see I have it already divided up into long tones, technique, and articulation because those are the 3-step warm-up. Those are the 3 important things to be mastering and working on. And then I have my timings, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I put a little extra time into technique compared to the other two because I'm really focusing on getting that effortless technique, really working on coordinating all of my fingers really well. So that one's going to take a little bit more time, and I want to spend a little bit more time on that now. You can also see I put in the specific exercises, and also on the articulation in particular, I added some other tips for things that I want to be working on with that. I think it's a really good idea to have some specific goals that you want to get out of even your warm-ups. These warm-up exercises I've played many, many times. Hopefully you've played your warm-ups many times so that you're ultra confident with the notes and rhythms and don't have to think about that, but you can be deliberate and focusing on those other things that you want to get out of it. Like this, what I said for articulation, have really great note beginnings and really truly only moving the tip of my tongue without any other parts of the tongue moving any more than absolutely necessary. So those are some specific things that I'm going to be going for and trying to get out of this. If you want more in-depth discussion on how to do these sort of different exercises or what to be getting out of your warm-up, recently I did a sort of back to basics series on the live weekly warm-up that goes really, really in-depth with how to think about these and what to focus on those. So you can check those out as well if you'd like, and I'll put those down in the description as well. But without further ado, let's actually get into the practicing. So first up, I'm going to do some long tones. I do have my Soundrunner core for my metronome that I'll be using later, but what I'm going to use it for now is actually the timer. And I'm just gonna set 20 minutes for my 20-minute 3-step warm-up, and then I'll get to have my break. But what I'm gonna do with this is sort of just keep an eye on it to figure out my 5, 10, and then 5 minutes. Of course, if you wanna set a 5-minute, 10-minute, and then 5-minute timer, that's absolutely fine. I'm just gonna do 20 because that's easy and that's what works for me. So let me get the timer going and then we will start right into the over the break long tones. The other thing that practicing and warm-ups are great for, and having this timing system in place, is that it works really well for breaking in reeds. So this is a newer reed, so I played about my 5 minutes there on the long tones, so I'm going to let that one rest and then move on to another reed. Now I'll move on to one that's already broken in, but if I was breaking in a few, then I could do it on the technique and on the articulation and work my way through. Also, if you're wondering, all of these fundamentals exercises, all the warm-up stuff that I'm doing, comes from the next generation clarinet method. Next up, we have our technique for about 10 minutes. All right, so that's the first 20 minutes. Now I get to take a little 5-minute break. It's always a good idea to do some stretching and some stuff like that. I also want to point out that I made a ton of mistakes, and that's the point of practicing. Hopefully you could hear how when things were going wrong, I would fix them and adjust and improve, and it got better as it went along. Also, this reed is a little bit on the chirpy, squeaky side. My reeds are not going so well right now. It's just one of those good old bad reed times, which often happens as we go into the drier months of the winter. So it is what it is, but if you can make the not so great reeds sound the way that you want and really work with them, then it's not a bad thing to work on and experiment with. You're not always going to have your very best reed in a performance when you need to sound your very best. Hopefully you do, but sometimes you think a reed's good and then it just isn't good anymore, and you have to have that ability to get what you want out of it. So I don't think it's always the best to just change off the bad reed right away. Work with it, see what you can do, and then change it so that you can also practice on a good reed. So I'm going to take my 5-minute break now, change my reed, and then we'll be back with some of the specific individual tasks to work on. And of course I'm setting my timer so that I know when my break is done as well. All right, I am back from my break, and now we're going to get into actually practicing those tasks that were sort of brainstormed. I picked just a couple of them, even though I had a few more that I could do, but I only am taking sort of an hour-long practice time, so I'm going to have to save the other stuff for another practice session. And that's what's nice about the Pomodoro technique is you get in there, you do your time, and then you're done. So the first thing I'm going to be working on is the Rose Etude. I've been working on this one just for fun, just to work on that technique and work towards my goal of playing consistently with great sound and effortless technique. So that's what I'm working on. I also picked some very specific measures. I'm not just going to do the whole thing and play through it and play through it and play through it, sort of go crazy doing it just over and over with no purpose and not getting anything better. So I picked some specific sections. I put some specific things to focus, how I wanted to practice on it, and what I want to get out of it. So without further ado, let's get into that. I'll set my 20-minute timer of focus, and then we'll go through it. And I'm also going to remember to use my metronome right away instead of waiting till after I've been practicing for a whole bunch already. that's my time up for that. I'm just gonna write in the reflection a couple things to think about for next time. That's the nice thing about having the reflection, is it sort of gives you time to plan for next time. And also I had some stuff that I wanted to get done today but didn't quite get done quite as well as I would like. Those first 15 to 18 measures took a little bit longer than I was expecting because it's really tricky. But I made progress on it, so I can make note of where I've progressed to today and then pick it up from there and keep making progress moving forward. I'm also making note of that little exercise that I started doing at the end of 59 and 60, where I was doing just the sort of last triplet of the trill into the actual 16th note triplet. That's what's written in the music, and taking out the first bit of the trill and just finishing the trill and then doing the triplet was really effective. So I'm typing that in so I can remember to do that in the future, because that was a really good way to work on the practicing. And now I'm done with that, and on to the next piece to work on, which is the cadenza from Weber 1. I'm also including in the cadenza just a little bit of triplets before it, because I think that's kind of part of it, and that's what I wanted to work on today. So I'm going to take the same sort of approach. This one's a little different. There's a little bit more musicality to be talked about, and I actually have some notes in my focus for some things I need to plan, like the breaths and everything, so I might write some of those in and work on my phrasing and musical plan as I'm working through this. But of course, I have to set my timer and use my metronome. And that's that, an approximately 1 hour long practice session. The last thing that's really important to do is to fill out the reflection section of the practice guide. And this is a perfect place to sort of document what you did, what you felt good about, anything that you noticed was particularly helpful so that you can do it again in the future. And then of course the things that you maybe didn't get to, or I noticed some other problems in the Rose Etude that I noted in there, and other things like that, the things that you might want to think about working on for next time. And the reflection is a perfect place to start as you get into planning your future practice sessions. And of course this was designed to be about an hour long, but you can take the same principles and extend or shorten a practice session. You can maybe take off that last 20-minute chunk and just spend 20 minutes on your music. I think that's really good for most school-age kids, where you do sort of a 10 to 20 minute warm-up and then 20 to 30 minutes working on whatever music you need to be working on, whether that's an honor band audition etude or your actual band music, whatever it may be. If you're an adult amateur, I really like this sort of hour-long session where it gives you enough time to really warm up, really work on the fundamentals, and have some fun working on some other stuff as well. And if you're a college student or a professional, then you should do this probably at least twice a day, this kind of routine. Maybe you don't warm up the second time and you do just 3 20-minute blocks of different tasks that you have to accomplish. And even more than that, some people in college, when I was in college even, I was often playing 6 hours a day, not necessarily practicing for that. A lot of it was ensemble rehearsals, but at least 2 hours a day is a really good goal for professionals, aspiring professionals, and of course, the more the merrier, as long as you can stay focused and are still being deliberate about what you're improving and making progress. Alright, I hope this was insightful. Please leave any comments if you have any questions about anything that I was doing or this process at all. If you have any tips or tricks or things that you really like to incorporate into your practice process that you think would be helpful for other people, leave a comment with that. And don't forget about the 5 must-know clarinet tips free training. It goes over a lot of different things, where this was very, very in-depth on practicing. That training goes quite in-depth also, but on 5 different topics, and gives you some stuff to implement and some action steps. It's a really great training. I highly encourage you to check that out. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe so we can hit that year-end goal of 750. If you are subscribed to the channel, share this video with somebody that you think it might be helpful for, and encourage them to subscribe so we can hit that goal. I hope that you enjoyed this. This obviously took a lot of time to put together, so all the comments and likes and sharing and subscribing is greatly appreciated and really helps motivate me and inspire me to come up with more fun ideas like this to put together to help you on your clarinet and music journey. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.